So I am going to present the profitability analysis of our project. So here I am going to talk about the general statements for our project. The total fixed capital cost is invested during 3 years of the construction period. Second, the plant life is 16 years after 3 years for plant startup. Straight line depreciation is assumed. Consequently, the plant will depreciate with constant value in each year. The federal income tax is assumed to be 40% of gross profit, and the chemical engineering plant cost CE index for 2017 is 558.5, and finally the working hours are 7,920 hours per year, which is equivalent to 330 days. So in this part, we are going to calculate the grassroots capital. Grassroots capital is the calculation of all the base bare module costs into the consideration. The equipment identification includes the pumps, heat exchangers, sedimentation tanks, filter, screw conveyor, and so on. So these base bare module costs for all these equipments have been calculated in previous parts. So for example, the total base bare module cost for total pumps worth about 766,000. For total heat exchanger, it worth approximately 2.8 million, and so on. So the equipment lease continues. The total base module cost based on CE index in 2004 is around 17 million, and the total bare module cost based on CE index in current year, which is 2017, is approximately 20 million. So contingency and fee is 18% of total bare module cost, about 3.5 million. Total module cost about 23 million. Auxiliary facilities is the 30% of total module cost, approximately 7 million. Lastly, grassroots capital takes consideration of factors such as the total bare module cost, contingency and fee, and auxiliary facilities. So finally, the grassroots capital GRC is about 30 million. So now I am going to present the total capital investment. Before I proceed, I would like to acknowledge the reference book that we use, Product and Process Design Principles 2004. Here, the specification in the calculation of total capital investments consists of direct costs and indirect costs. The direct cost is composed of the on-site, off-site, while the indirect cost is composed of the indirect matters, such as here. So, for example, the purchase equipment installation in the on-site sector is the 30% of the grassroots capital, which is calculated previously, about 9.1 million. For off-site, for building, which is 10% of the grassroots capital, approximately 3 million. For indirect metals, the engineering and supervision is about 8% of the grassroots capital, approximately 2.4 million. The grand total is the total of direct cost and indirect cost, which is about 42 million. The fixed capital investment, FCI, is 170% of the grand total value, about 72 million. The working capital is 12% of the fixed capital investment, about 8.6 million. The startup cost is 10% of the fixed capital investment, about 7.2 million. And finally, the total capital investment is approximately 88 million. So now I am going to talk about the raw material and catalyst costs in our profitability analysis. So in the calculations, we consider the raw material and catalyst. Waste cooking oil, methanol, and magnesium are the raw materials. Novozyme 435 is the enzyme that we have utilized in our process. So for waste cooking oil, the cost that we have calculated per year is about 4 million. Methanol, approximately 3.4 million. Magnesium, 126,000. And finally, the enzyme Novozyme 435, about 11 million. And the total of these raw material and catalyst is about 19.473 million. So here is sales revenue. The product biodiesel has a production rate of 1,542 liters per hour. The price per liter is 3.5. And finally, the revenue, Ringgit Malaysia per year, is approximately 42.8 million. So here we calculate the labor cost. The total units of the equipment are shown on the left side, and the operators per shift are shown at the right side of the table, which is 14 operators per shift. In our calculation, we have 3 shifts per day. Each shift is about 8 hours. So the total operators is about 42 operators. Labor wages are Ringgit Malaysia 1,200 per month. The total wages is equivalent to labor wages times the total operators, which is 1,200 times 42. So the final value is 604,000. So the utility cost in our profitability analysis. The utilities such as electricity and cooling water. The electricity has a rate of 54.6 kilowatts hour. Its cost is approximately 0.38 per kilowatt hour, and its utility cost is approximately 164,000 per year. So the cooling water in our utilities calculations can be negligible because the river water near to the plant is utilized. So there will be no utility cost accounted for cooling water. On the other hand, the estimation of this utility cost for electricity is based on Aspen Plus simulation because there is only slight difference between the mass balance and mass balance from Aspen Plus simulation. So now we have come to manufacturing expenses. The manufacturing expenses has taken direct cost, indirect cost, and depreciation into consideration. The direct cost consists of raw material, catalyst, and so on, while the indirect cost consists of the local taxes, insurance, and so on. For direct cost, the maintenance and repairs is 2% of the fixed capital investment, about 1.4 million. For supervisory and clerical labor, which is 10% of the operating labor, is about 60,480. For laboratory charges is 10% of the operating labor, which is the same value as previous. For patents and royalties is 3% of the sales, approximately 1.28 million. So the total direct manufacturing expenses is 23 million. So now, under the indirect cost, the local taxes is 1% of the fixed capital investment, about 722,000. For insurance, is 0.4% of the fixed capital investment, about 288,000, and so on. So the total indirect manufacturing expenses calculated is approximately 2.2 million. So now, thirdly, the depreciation. The depreciation is 6% of the fixed capital investment. Therefore, the total depreciation is 4.3 million. The general expenses, including admin costs, which is 2% of sales, about 856,000. For distribution and selling expenses, which is 1% of sales, is about 428,000. For research and development, is 0.5% of the sales, which is 214,000. So in short, the total general expenses is 1.5 million. The total production cost, excluding the total depreciation, is 24.6 million. For total expenses, it is about 8 million. Therefore, in sales revenue, the biodiesel, which is the total sales income, is 42.8 million. Now we have come to annual gross earning profit. Annual gross earning profit is total sales income minus the total production cost excluding depreciation, which is approximately 18 million. The income taxes is 40% of the annual gross earning, which is about 7.29 million. Finally, we have come to net annual profit after taxes. Net annual profit after taxes is annual gross earning minus income taxes, about 10.9 million. This is the cost volume profit chart. The x-axis is the running capacity in percentage. The y-axis is the cost in Radio Malaysia million. So the shutdown point for the plant is actually the intersection point of the sales revenue and the fixed cost as shown here, which we obtained Radio Malaysia 10.15 million at running capacity of 23.69%. Besides that, the shutdown point refers to the point where the company experiences no benefit for continuing operations or from shutting down temporarily. So apart from that, the break-even point, BEP, is the intersection point of the total cost and the sales revenue as shown here. So the break-even point is estimated to be approximately Ringgit Malaysia 18.72 million at the running capacity of 43.69%. Break-even point is where the sales revenue just enough to cover the total cost and total profit at break-even point is 0. Finally, we have come to the very last part of the calculation, payback period and the return of investment. So for return of investment, the ROI is equal to 1 minus the income tax rate, which is 40%, and then multiply the annual sales revenue minus annual production cost. Then it is divided by the total capital investment. So the calculation will be shown here. We have obtained 10.92% for the return of investment. For payback period, it is equal to total investment capital divided by net profit after tax times total production of biodiesel in tons. After calculating, we have obtained about 8.06 years, which is 8 years. So the payback period is 8 years. So this is the approximate profitability measure. The return of investment is 10.92%. The payback period is 8 years. So I am gladly to present the conclusion of a Capstone project. The working capital and startup costs are 8.6 million and 7.2 million respectively. Therefore, the total capital investment for the biodiesel plant is 88 million, approximately. The annual gross earning is approximately 18 million, while the annual net profit after taxes is 11 million. The total depreciation is 4.3 million, which has been used in the calculation of payback period. Finally, the return of investment, the ROI, is about 10.92%, and the payback period is approximately 8 years, excluding the period for the plant construction. Thank you very much.